Nine Vicious calls out Young Thug after new YSL deal claims. Let's see what he got to say to Young Thug. Yo, Nine Vicious is literally built like a female, bro. I know, like, he literally built like a stud, gang. That is like, it's crazy, gang. Like, he's vulnerable. Yo, do what you want with that. He's a vulnerable nigga, bro.
It's a very strange situation, and honestly, the more you look into it, the more confusing it gets. For the past few hours, everybody asking the same thing. Is Nine Vicious actually signed to Young Thug and YSL, or is he independent and doing his own thing? And the reason this conversation blew up again because Young Thug recently appeared on Playboy Max Stream and basically implied that Nine Vicious had re-signed with him for millions of dollars.
So yeah, is Nine Vicious signed BNS? What the fuck?
I think he just typo. He's just asking is he signed.
Yeah, Nine Vicious signed. Yes, Nine Vicious is signed. Nine Vicious is signed to me. I seen some things on the internet a few moments ago, like a few months ago. They was like, "Oh, Nine Vicious not signed to Thug no more," and this and that and that. Yeah, I re-signed him. I gave him a lot of, I gave him some millions.
Shout out Nine. He been going crazy.
In millions.
Going stupid.
Yeah, walking else.
And we know how this goes. The second that clip started making rounds, every news page picked it up, every underground page started posting it, and people definitely took this as confirmed information. And of course, Nine had responded recently. Not with some long explanation, not with paperwork, not with a statement. He simply just said cap. And that's when things get interesting. Because if you've been tapped in with Nine Vicious over the last year or two, this isn't the first time we've seen something like this happen. And actually, if we're being real, this is somewhat of a pattern. One second, we might actually
he got like some cool tracks, cause like he got some fire ass sample and great ass engineer, cause beautiful ass shit. But then he don't be talking about that. They want something be like, "Get in your bed." I like that shit. That shit nice. Nah, that's some nice shit. He got another one, like another song that's like low key, niggas don't know about. That's like, yeah. I don't know. Maybe I just gotta do more like research for it, but uptime his shit, yeah, just decent with a nice ass beat.
hear people connected to YSL mention Nine. And the next moment, Nine himself seems to distance himself from it. Then you will see him perform somewhere, like a Rolling Loud, for example, and still throw up YSL and claim that he's slime, claim that he's still involved with Young Thug, or even signed to him. The next moment, when asked directly about the contract, he denies it. Then you'll see people that surround him and say that he's independent. Then Young Thug says something else. Then Nine responds again. And before you know it, the entire conversation just starts over from the beginning. And at this point, I don't even think the reason that the story keeps getting attention is because people care about the contract itself. I think people care because nobody can actually figure out what the relationship actually is. The most we've seen from these guys is interact with each other on IG Live, and that was it mostly. Because if you look at Nine Rise, he doesn't really move like somebody who's dependent on a major cosign anymore. He's built his own audience. He's built his own fan base. He's built his own world. His records are performing. His name is growing. The numbers is there. And whether people want to admit it or not, he's become one of the biggest names in this scene right now. This ain't the first time we've seen this dance. In truth, Nine Vicious is currently tied to Create Music Group. And if you look at his track credits, you can see it for yourself. Create Music Group is right there. Studio Addict, not YSL. And with seeing that, we can tell that it gives him independence to drop on his own terms. But the association with Young Thug and YSL still lingers for a few reasons. A possibility that I feel like that could be true, and this was just based off me seeing how things are going. People are so quick to say that Thug is lying, but for all we know, this could be one of those business arrangements where multiple parties are involved at the same time. In the music industry, it's not uncommon for an artist's original label to have certain rights attached to their contract. Sometimes there's matching rights, meaning if another company comes in with an offer, the original label has the room to match that offer and remain involved in the artist's career. And again, I'm not saying that's exactly what's going on right here, but if you connect all the dots, it does make sense. But this explains why there's so much confusion surrounding Nine's situation. A scenario like I just named, right, that will allow Create Music Group, right, this new label that he just signed to be heavily involved in the day-to-day things, marketing, promotion, distribution, A&R support, and help it develop Nine. While another party, like YSL, for example, Young Thug, right, could still retain some level of financial interest or contractual involvement in the background. And if this is the case, right, it would explain why Young Thug still speaks on Nine from time to time. We see him promote him here and there. Not full out, but definitely here and there. While guys like Gio, for example, still proceed to talk about Nine here and there. Sometimes he might change his profile picture to one of his drops, because Nine is technically still their artist. So CMG, as we know, Create Music Group, might have did something where they loan YSL some money for a percentage. And we're not talking about little money. You see the momentum on that Nine guy. So he's being serviced and marketed in A&R by Create Music and creative rights to Nine Vicious. But there's definitely a chance that YSL and Young Thug is making money off him in their sleep. And y'all know something like this would eat Nine up. It would literally make him pissed off. That's why he say the things that he say in the songs. He might say fuck the OGs, he a rat, he a old head, and proceed to send his fan base these mixed signals. But he doesn't want to put that out there because he has that weird tension between Oway, and his fan base might look at him a little weird because what are you doing? It's not a bad thing to be a part of these guys. But instead, Nine proceeds to go on with this whole independent thing, which is not far off. He definitely doesn't need to push or anything like that. But saying that he has nothing to do with YSL just wouldn't make sense, especially if you've been a fan of Nine for a long time. And this would explain why Young Thug sounds so confident when he talk about Nine on the streams, right? We can't forget that Young Thug was involved with Nine early on in his career. What do you think happened? You think he just disappeared and Thug himself is just not involved with Nine at all in terms of contracts or some kind of financial reason? So that's honestly what it could be, and that's just what I'm thinking right now. But let's get back to what people are assuming, because people hear the word sign and immediately just think of one thing. Most people should know that music business is way more complicated than that. Artists can have distro deals, joint ventures, partnerships, licensing agreements, revenue sharing agreements, publishing arrangements, management relationships. There's so many different layers to it that both of these guys can be technically describing the same situation while still making it seem like on the net that they low-key contradicting each other. And I've already seen different forms of this in the past with even guys like Lil God and YSL. It's not rocket science to know that Nine came up idolizing Thug, and that legacy still sticks to him. And yes, we know that he still talks to people that's in that YSL circle, like Satan, for example. And he'll throw up YSL at events, in photos, videos, making known that he still is YSL or somewhat a part of Young Thug. It's more like nodding to the culture that shaped him. Because if we being real, both sides know what they're doing. Thug is known as a troll. The same way that Nine is moving right now is the same exact way that Thug was moving in his earliest days. He might throw out that millions line, half joking, half keeping the people talking, and all Nine do is just playing to it too. They both know the speculation keeps the engagement high. It's part of the formula. Whether they trolling, spark a conversation, it feeds all into his buzz. That's why we haven't seen anybody come out and actually say something that is stamped and that actually makes sense. So in terms of paperwork, there's no public evidence that Nine is actually under a YSL deal or under Thug. The last official agreement we've seen from Nextel Stories, Nine himself, and the things that he posts here and there is CMG, where he's free to release on his own timeline. So if Thug still has a minor stake, it definitely could be the situation I already described early on in this video. And that's probably what it is. That's just what I'm thinking right now. But for those that don't believe that, it could be a lot. Nine's success now is his own. He's blowing up, pulling big numbers. Every few months, Thug makes a claim, Nine responds, then Nine confuses his fans again by performing and shouting out YSL or Young Thug, and it's a pattern that grabs attention, but it doesn't really change the reality. Even if YSL and Young Thug is still eating off this man Nine, and he knows himself, there's one thing we can all agree on. In some form, he's still doing his own thing, and both Nine and Thug thrive in their own ways. Thug got his new roster with Oway, those guys killing it. Nine is pushing forward with his sound and his audience, and honestly, I think that's all that matters. So until something actually surfaces, I don't think people should get too caught up in the whole trolling thing or them just throwing claims, you know? We talking about two people that know the game now, and they're both playing it well. I just feel like people are putting way too much focus on whether Nine is officially signed to Young Thug or not. Because at this point, I would be surprised if Young Thug is saying what he's saying because he still has some kind of involvement with Nine's career. Or at the very least, he's still obviously keeping an eye on what he's doing. And we can't use that excuse that, oh, Nine is popping. That's why Young Thug wants to show love now. We're talking about a guy that been involved with Nine before we even knew it. Even if it wasn't on the media, there's a reason why Nine was claiming YSL in the first place, and he still do to this day. We just won't see no huge involvement, because even with the documentation, there still is weird tension between both. That's why the situation always felt complicated. It's always been like this. It's always been back and forth, which is why I feel like people are trying too hard to understand if he's signed or not. The relationship itself is probably more important than the paperwork. At one point, Young Thug genuinely had interest and Nine Vicious. That's not even debatable. Nine was one of the few names being discussed around YSL, and Thug clearly saw something in him very early on, even if Ken or Lil God did put him on. He still considered him. And if there's one thing that Young Thug has proven throughout his career, is that he knows how to identify talent. So it don't surprise me that he still acknowledges Nine here and there, because he still is one of those artists that caught his attention from the beginning. And honestly, that's how I view the whole Nine situation. Whether he's signed, partner, independent, or somewhere in between, it's obvious that the connection never completely disappeared. So this whole thing might sound a little complicated, but yeah, I think people are making it complicated. Let me know how y'all feel about this whole thing, man. Both sides is eating either way. How do y'all feel about Nine momentum? How do y'all feel about Thug right now and what he's currently doing to reform YSL and Oway itself? But yeah, I'm done chatting. Make sure y'all follow my IG and my Twitch right now. I love y'all so much. Y'all stay blessed. Peace.
Niggas got tickets. Nigga, I ain't trying to get no ticket. I don't do tickets, bro. It's 900 other people going. I fucked y'all. And that was what the fucky?
It's always two at a time.
Hey. Okay, y'all. Okay. And that was why Yannnnnnnnn calls out Young Thug after new YSL deal claims, for. Like, comment, subscribe like I just did to him. I ain't subscribed, but I'm gonna do it off camera. But do it for me though. You know what I'm saying? Goodbye. Straight up, you know what I'm saying?